Hello, everybody. It is 7 o'clock p.m. EST on May 27th, 2024. You're watching the DOVECOTE episode 28 with Marcy Mousewife. Marcy, please say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Marcy. I use she, her pronouns. I'm honored to be here on the Dovecote.
Yeah. Tell folks, uh, yes, that's true. There are, Itch is currently down, I noticed, which is a shame, but
It's
we'll
still. I
figure
checked
it
like a
out.
couple hours ago and it was down. Oh
Yeah.
no.
So, uh, hang on, let me. I will. Here's what I'm gonna do. I think the way to do this is I'm just gonna send your itch in my stream talk section of my Discord, and folks can get it there. We'll also check in every once in a while to see if uh, it's still down.
You get
Um,
live server status on itch.
but yeah, tell folks. I guess feel free to, like focus wherever you would like to here. Tell folks where they might know you from, or what things you've made or done.
Yeah, I've made some cool games. I made a game about the Carly Rae Jepsen album, Emotion. I made a game about Yu-Gi-Oh! After I'd spent like a weekend watching Yu-Gi-Oh's Excel, I made a game about Yu-Gi-Oh! After that, based on the Worldwide Wrestling RPG. I made some interstitial 1E playbooks that I need to remember. I need to add 1E to the titles of all those because Riley won't let me rest.
Yeah, not allowed. Banished from rest.
I recently made a God Game expansion based on Sparkle on Raven.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I really like it. Also, I feel like I'm really big. Maybe it's just because you're a mouse, but I feel like I'm like
Probably because of a mouse.
I feel like I'm huge for some reason. Okay. Um, yeah, you've hang on. Now I feel like I'm small. I'll never be happy in this world. Um, let's get a fucking intro in here. We'll get the interview bird in here. Because I always forget. I always forget to bring my birds in. Phew.
Forgot your birds.
There we go. Get freaking small, idiot. Um, but yeah, I feel like um something like you're definitely the person who like got me into like indie TTRPGs, and so like I feel like uh I don't know. I feel like we have a bit of I feel like there's a lot of terrain to cover here on some level. Um,
It's it's so I think the greatest accomplishment in all my making of TTRPGs is just the amount of people who have said like, "You got me to make TTRPGs. You got me to look at all these things." I'm like, I think there's a lot to be said for like some schmuck making a game. Then anyone could say, "Well, if that schmuck can make a game, then I can obviously do it."
yeah. Um, I mean, I think you undersell yourself. I think the stuff that you've made is really wonderful. Um,
I mean, maybe, but like someone with no background, with no real history of it, can just do it. And I think
yeah, true.
being able to exemplify that was really good. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Um, and I also think just like playing stuff with you, like I've mentioned a couple times on this show, like playing Interstitial with you is like one of the things that got me into like playing indie games like on the internet and like looking into that sort of stuff. And uh, yeah, you were on it's up to you really, which I think really like
Hmm.
brought me into doing RPG stuff and made me think about a lot of that stuff. Um,
Oh yeah, you've been a part of probably all my favorite experiences with RPGs.
I would say the same for you, and I really appreciate that. Um,
That's crazy because you play way more RPGs than I do.
maybe not all of them, but I feel like on some level, I've definitely tried to bring some of what you've yielded for me into everything that I do. I uh yeah, I guess a good starting point here would be like um but because like you made them so long ago, I don't imagine you have much to say about like the games that you've made unless you want to talk about them.
There's not much I feel like I can't say about them anymore because it's I'll say one thing about basically everything I've written. As time goes by, I'll always think like, God, I wrote that shit when I was like 18. It must suck. It must be so bad. And I'll always go back and read them at some points. And I'm always surprised at like, oh wait, this was actually pretty good. I was actually doing a pretty good job at this.
Yeah.
Like I think the first thing I published was a Monster Hearts playbook based on the Equestria Girls My Little Pony episodes, where it's just like, because it's a game about like teenage monsters. I wanted it to be about like the ponies in My Little Pony when they become teenagers in real life. I thought it'd be funny, and I still go back and read them. I'm like, I like had some pretty good ideas here. They weren't great, but like there was some
It's pretty cool.
weird choices of writing. I think the worst part about it is I wrote like a page-long author's note at the end, just like apologizing for myself and explaining myself.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll
And
happen when you start writing things.
it always happens, and every time I'm like, I should delete this and re-upload it and not say anything, but I can't bring myself to. It's a part of it.
Yeah, that was a big thing when I was writing Sapphic World, where like when I first started writing it, where I was like, I don't want people to use it for this thing, and now I'm just like, whatever. Like I in some ways I want you to use it for the things that I previously didn't want you to use it for, because I'm not afraid of being seen a certain way anymore. Um, like, listen, I'm a pervert. I want people to do dub and non-con stuff in my game. Like I'm not
Yeah.
afraid of this anymore. Um, yeah.
I
I
should. I love the way Sapphic World is written. Like,
thank
especially
you.
like, I think it handles stuff like consent really well, and I think it can handle that kind of thing especially good.
Thanks.
It made it a lot easier to write for it. I think the little bit I did, or
Yeah,
the little
I
portion
really
I
like the
did.
short stack pack. It's really good. I really enjoyed
Thank
that.
you.
Um, yeah, I think like something that's kind of funny is like I'll talk to people about like I brought you up to my friend Jess for something that I can't talk about.
Mhm.
uh, that and Jess was like, oh shit, like Tourmaline, like the person who made LA Nightmare. It's like, yeah, it's like it's kind of wild how much the stuff that you made over that like short period is kind of like dispersed and like
I
people are very much aware of it, I think.
I did start making RPGs at like a very particular time, which was like, I don't know, towards the start, but definitely kind of towards the sweet spot of the like itch.io TTRPG boom initially.
Yeah, it was kind
I
of like the
definitely
death of
sort of
Google
rode that
Plus era.
wave
Yeah,
a bit.
that like death of Google Plus era was like huge. Like that's where like Jay got started, to my
Yeah.
understanding, like doing lyric games. Um, like that's where like what's his name? The Honey Heist guy got started. Um,
Yeah.
like yeah, a
Uh
lot of big stuff got started during that.
huh. It's yeah. It was this. It was the launch of like people realizing like RPGs. RPGs are a type of game that like requires less playtesting than a video game does. Not always, obviously, but like
Yeah,
you can write a game and just publish it.
yeah, it's good. I like it.
It is
Um,
good. I like it a lot.
I
I only
think
playtested one of my games ever.
yeah, it's really interesting how opinions differ so much on that perspective. Like I've
Yeah.
talked to so many people about that issue on here, and it's like some people are very much just you have to playtest. I'm going to kill you if you don't playtest your game, and some people are like, uh, who cares? Like you don't even have to mark your game as not having been playtested. Um, I
Yeah.
playtest my games a lot these days because I like to do it. It's something that I like. It's a part of the design process for me is like seeing what people think of things, but also, you know, I didn't playtest my games for a very long time.
Yeah. I think if I played a lot of my games wouldn't have been made if I like held myself to the standard of needing to playtest. The only reason I did playtesting for these cards have hearts is because like that was the one I really wanted to get right. That was a game that like I had a very specific idea in mind for how I wanted it to feel, and if I couldn't get it to feel that way, I didn't want to make it.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I feel like it's interesting also thinking about like um that era where like you were kind of making your stuff. Like I feel like there's a lot of like disappointment that kind of came out of that era. Like I think about how, obviously like Adam Coble, like
Mm-hmm.
you know not to start shit, but like there are other people in in that era who I have like personal grudges with,
Yeah.
because I think people are still figuring things out, and like uh, some of the people that were idolized for their design acumen might have not been the best people. um,
Yeah. It was the Wild West back then,
it was the wild
in a
west of
lot of
game.
ways.
Yeah. um, you excited for
I'm glad
interstitial
I got
2e?
started around that.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry, go ahead, go, you do yours first.
I was just like, I am glad I got started around then, just because like I don't know if there would have been an easier time for me to just like start throwing stuff out there and get immediate like positive reinforcement from people seeing the things I made. I
Yeah.
doubt if I just fired like I don't think the short stack pack got a ton of attention, but that's fine. It was basically just for like me, and I wanted to show it to you and for other people to be able to use it if they were similarly deranged.
Yeah, it's a good one. Uh it's I'm excited for the reality where there's just a bunch of Sapphic World stuff on itch. I think that'll be really cute. Um,
Yeah.
oh, I wanna be able to be like, hey, do y'all want to do this architecture this week? Someone made an architecture where you get small and go into a house. Um, I think this is good. Um, yeah. Are you What was I asking? Oh, yeah, are you excited for Interstitial 2e? Because I know we played Interstitial a lot together.
I've been waiting to listen to the rest of the AP. I've only listened to like the
Hmm.
first couple episodes to the AP. I really like it. I really like what they're doing. Um,
Fucker.
hold on.
Fucker. Get out of
I
here.
almost got that one. Thank you,
Kill
Reeve.
you.
I don't know a ton about the differences with it mechanically. I think Link's being reworked is like a big deal. I'm really glad Links are
Yeah.
getting redone.
Essential.
I like Links conceptually a lot, but they do like affect like the no, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe not rhythm. They sort of like can detract from like momentum in a game. I feel like
Yeah.
having to take the time to be like, okay, well, I feel this way about this person we just met, this way about this person we just met, and this person feels this way. We have to resolve all these, and we have
We
to
have to roll
resolve
now.
a lot of moves need to be resolved. And I think the way it is now is a lot more just like kinetic, makes sense in the moment, keeps things moving. It's good. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm a big fan too. Um, yeah. I'm excited for that one. I
I
still gotta listen to that AP.
Whatever is very good. I mean, one of the characters in it is Mob, and I did make a playbook for one of you that was just the Mob Psycho
Oh
playbook.
yeah, true.
I still just have like a list of characters that like I want to play as this character in Interstitial. This is the character I need to play as an Interstitial.
Yeah. I think that's fun. It also just seems like they're like really digging deep into like more interesting design stuff, which I think is good. Um,
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the like pages from other systems in the book being part of the same system. It's
yeah.
really interesting.
Uh, yeah. Kind of going to my normal questions. What games are you playing or looking at or reading or thinking about recently that you'd like to tell folks about? Hmm.
I like don't read RPGs as much anymore. It's kind of sad.
Real.
I think the game I'm by far the most excited for right now is Sapphic World.
That's fair. I appreciate that.
I think it's the only RPG. I mean, I want to read Interstitial 2 eventually, but like the only game I'm like I'm gonna be there day one for is Sapphic World.
Yeah.
Um, I've been watching a Quinn's Quest with Courtney a
Oh
bit.
yeah.
It's been really fun. I started reading Wild Sea because of that, and I thought Wild Sea was neat.
Wild Sea seems cool. Someone made a. Rumor has it that someone made a pornographic Wild Sea thing, which I need to look into.
Ooh,
Um,
that does sound fun.
yeah, but yeah, Wild Sea seems cool. Quinn's Quest is it's wild how well produced that show is.
It's crazy. I love watching it. It's really good. I Courtney isn't as a big RPG head. She plays some RPG. She just has like a D&D group she hops in sometimes. But it's nice, like it's easy to watch for people just a casual understanding of TTRPG, so it's fun
Yeah, I
to
played a
watch
little
with
bit of
her.
Thirsty Sword Lesbians with Courtney. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And Grief and Shuki. It was a good group.
Hmm.
We were kind of on a hiatus. Um,
Or because
yeah.
you started while I was at Courtney's house for a while.
Oh right, yeah. Um, what was I gonna say about Quinn's Quest? Oh yeah, people should actually, should I even say anything about that? Um, uh, Quinn should come on this show at some point when when things are less urgent and maybe when I have a larger viewer base. Wink, wink, nudge,
Eclipse
nudge.
isn't saying to go tell Quinn to come on this show.
I'm not saying that the thing that I said last week about a person who's from outside the industry was about Quinn, but if you've watched, there's a puzzle you can put together if you've watched the previous episode and this one.
There's an ARG connecting every episode of Dovecote. It's gonna lead to Quinn being on the show.
Yeah, no, uh, I I I understand that this is not the most popular show, I guess is what I'll say to be diplomatic. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, Quinn's Quest is really good. I've been enjoying it. I gotta watch the most recent one. Apparently he was mean about a game, which I think is
He
good.
was. He got mean. I was surprised.
Yeah, I think it's important that people be a little bit mean about games.
I forgot the name of the game. I think his criticism was good and correct. It's exactly what I would have thought about the game.
Yeah,
It, not to just reiterate what's in the video, but it's like the crux of it is just there's a lot of stats in this mystery solving game that have nothing to do with mystery solving and are never going to come up. So why are they here?
yeah. I was watching this video essay. Oh God, what's the name of the person who made it? It's called Bad Conservative Horror Movies.
Mm-hmm.
Who made this? Yeah, In Praise of Shadows. And it's video essay about. Its title is kind of misleading. Uh, it's a it's a video essay about how like horror, like horror media, not even like just like conservatives, but like horror media as a broad thing is like becoming very conservative and very reactionary. Um, where like any like criticism or like political analysis um, or like conversation broadly is like
Mm-hmm.
rejected in favor of just like broad and kind of blind industry support. And I do think that TTRPGs sometimes have that where it's like you can't really talk about games negatively because
Yeah,
we all know the people who made them. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
and I think that is a
Uh,
problem.
mhm. I ages ago when I was more in RPGs, I made like a post that was to some degree like one of the million posts about like, hey, if you rate a game less than 5 stars on itch.io, it'll like kill it forever. By the way,
Yeah, it's true.
and like I agree with that broadly. I think if you like a game, you should just rate it 5 stars probably. Uh, and I got like a lot of replies to that were like, "So you want me to lie and say I like a game I didn't like?" I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be honest because honesty is important. It's like, well, I think we should be. You should be critical of games, but not in a way that's like that like affects platform visibility like that for people who are
Yeah,
like trying to work for a living on this thing.
I think you should. If you like a game, you should give it 5 stars on itch. If you don't like a game, you should
You didn't see
either
it.
not give it 5 stars or like write about somewhere else. Like you should not
Yeah.
you should not be affecting people's like livelihood with because unfortunately that's just the way the site works. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, leave comments exactly. That's also
Leave
good.
comments.
Yeah, leave comments, but don't rate low stars because it'll fuck up the algorithm. Um,
I will say my I It's kind of a weird thing to say. I feel like I've always reacted to itch comments I've gotten in like the most negative light possible.
Oh yeah, no.
I feel like I read them in the worst light. I'd like, in hindsight, I feel like, why was I so mean? Why did I think like the worst of this person? Like someone on my like dumb Tony Hawk game pointed out a spelling error or something, and I was like, what do they have against me? What did I ever do to you?
I think there's
What's
a
your
rawness
problem?
to it where it's like you put up this thing fairly directly and the audience is fairly direct, and so
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
like a
tough.
completely innocuous comment. Like I think I like in the second version I made, I like directly like put both spellings or something to like acknowledge it. Acknowledge this one comment that probably I'm the only person who ever read.
Yeah. And I do think there's like a line between like a correction, which is fine,
Hmm.
a uh like actual criticism. Like sometimes people will like point things out in like Sapphic World and I'm like, oh no, you're right. Like that doesn't make any sense, or that's like kind of not what I'm going for there. And I'll like either change it or think about it. Um and then there's like just being cruel and like having vendettas. Um I don't want to
Hmm.
call anyone out specifically, but I think there are definitely people in the industry who like have certain people they don't like and view that as criticism. um,
Uh-huh.
and that's what that is. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't think I've ever like gotten like an actual negative comment or bad review. Not that I can think of. Not one that actually stuck with me.
I I think that you should have used. I think I think your character. I think Mousewife character should have blue hair instead of pink. There you go. I gave you a critique.
I think I've gotten critiques on my like stream and design. I meant games
Yeah, no,
specifically.
I know. The smaller the
People have
industry, the
talked
worse.
shit about me on websites, and I've seen it every time.
There's all sorts of people. There's entire forums. There's Marcy hate forums. They hate this
Marcy has
mouse.
popped up on more forums than you'd think, is what I'll say.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
No, I find it every time. I track it down.
Yeah, I I feel like I've been lucky in the sense that people don't really talk about me that much. Like it's good. The people who talk about me are mostly the people I want to have talking about me. Um, Although maybe I just haven't seen it. I don't know. If anyone sees people being weird about me, show me because I will find it funny.
Tell me about it immediately.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know so I can figure out their IP and send send new characters to their house. Um, send assassins with like full 15-second intro cutscenes to their house.
Some people were asking about you. They asked about you. I gave them your address and phone number. Their names are Joy and Happiness.
I love that image is so good.
It's
Um,
such a good image.
yeah. Uh, I'm trying to think. Are there any? I feel like you kind of answered this, but I'll ask nonetheless. Are there any TTRPGs coming up or being made that you're excited about?
I did answer this. It was Sapphic World.
Okay, cool.
Sapphic World is the big one. I should
um,
say I am working on a. I don't know if there's like a. It's not really a plug. I just the only RPG adjacent thing I'm working on right now is more God game cards.
yeah, tell me about God Game cards. I feel like that's in the. We've talked about God Game enough on this show. I think we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
talk
yeah,
more
yeah.
about it.
If you don't know about God game, it's a tabletop simulator card game based sort of on that Binding of Isaac card game, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering. It's a 4-player card game based on having about a bajillion cards in it. Pretty convoluted. I'd say convoluted. It becomes a convoluted game in play with a pretty straightforward set of rules.
I'm
If you
seeing if I have
understand,
any
like,
funny ones.
uh-huh. Eclipse has made some great God game cards.
Here's one. You got Trust Me Jack Afternoon is really cool. So yeah, a lot of them are like weird or funny characters, memes, images. You got fucking. You got Black Gorillo. Uh, who else? Who else? I Brickster Elysium. Uh, These are all ones that I've made for my expansion, which will be out eventually. But yeah, you've been working on what God game cards have you been working on?
I've been working on cards based on Pizza Tower. I mean, before I made
Okay.
cards based on Sparkle on Raven, The Life of Drill Girl, a YouTube fan anime that I really like,
Mhm.
and now I'm making ones about Pizza Tower. And it is a lot. Like I made about I don't remember, like 50-ish cards about Sparkle on Raven. I Pizza Tower one is going to be 120 some cards.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Putting a lot more effort into making them look nicer. So it's taken a while, but I love doing it still. So I'm still
Yeah.
working on it.
The ones that I've
And
seen this far
it's
look great.
thank you. I it really does scratch a similar itch to me that like tabletop game dev did though. It's I love seeing things and like putting them into a system that I can break them down into, categorizing them like that. It's why I made a Yu-Gi-Oh game. It's because I loved watching Yu-Gi-Oh, and I all I could think about while I was watching it was like, if this were in a game, it would work like this. This would work like this. And God game gives me like a framework to do that with a lot of characters. I really like it.
Yeah, I feel really similarly. I was actually like doing God game card design for a little bit, like as a kind of like a break and a sort of like testing ground or like practice ground for game design. Um,
Hmm.
and it really worked in that regard. Like I feel like it's really good at like opening your mind and like thinking about like connecting theme to mechanics in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I think anyone who makes TTRPGs should start making God game cards immediately, and I won't be speaking to you if you don't.
I genuinely think like it's something I've done with like magic cards before. I've made like magic cards based on stuff. I made like a lot of Friends at the Table Magic the Gathering cards. I made like a good I didn't like make them, but I like certainly wrote a lot of them.
That's fun.
It was fun, and it like the way you make magic cards, I think it was sort of hampered Sparkle on Raven. My Sparkle on Raven set a bit was I was still kind of in that mindset for writing a lot of it. With God game cards, it's like you can connect mechanic to theme so much more directly than you can with something like Magic the Gathering. In
Yeah.
ways you really have to think bigger than you do with stuff like that, and I think it's fun too.
You can simply be like open Minecraft.
You can be like open Minecraft and do something.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite God game cards is Dude Get on Fortnite or Dude Get on Fortnite.
Yeah.
Just that you choose a player and they go play Fortnite, and if they win, they get cards, and if they lose, you laugh at them 3 times.
It's really
You laugh and
funny.
laugh and laugh at them, and you get to draw cards.
Dude, get on
And you could
Fortnite.
pick yourself for that cards. You could just make yourself go play Fortnite, and if you win, you get cards.
God.
It's
I
such a good card.
it's challenging cuz like I feel like I need to like there are some games that you can do that with and some that you can't, which is tricky. But I feel like I gotta explore outside of tabletop sim a bit more because I think there's some fun stuff that you can do there. Um,
For sure. I mean, your card, the save video to desktop card,
yeah. My content
great
warning card.
example of that.
Yeah,
It's a good card.
I should make one where someone has to make a Sapphic World character. That's a fun one.
That's
Um,
a good. I mean, there's a card in God Game that could make you go make a Sapphic World character.
oh wait, which one?
It's I think an environment or a phenomenon called Character Creator, and
Oh
it's
right.
you go to any game of your choice and you make a character in it.
I feel like I had that one. No, I didn't. That was in a tournament. I tend to mix up what I was watching and what I've
Mhm.
watched and what I've played for God Game.
Yeah, it's a viewer card, I think, but it's in like the viewer cards I put aside for games we've played.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a
Um,
great one, yeah.
okay. Do you want to get into the news? Maybe we'll go through like honestly, these stories are chunky enough. I think we should do one story and then take a little break.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. So all the devils are out this week. Um,
The demons are loose.
yeah.
A new bird. We need a bird for the news.
We do. You're so right. Thank you for keeping me accountable. Cordis flying in from 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 heaven, just like literal actual heaven. Not dead, just able to go there. Uh, yeah. Although Cordis is probably a ghost, but like, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. So we're gonna talk about we're uh we're so we're gonna talk about cozy Ghibli core cottagecore shit. So a couple weeks ago, well, a couple months ago probably, we covered Obojima on this show, the uh quote unquote Ghibli inspired D&D 5e supplement, and at MomoCon, this group, the Magic Academy, decided to have a little actual play of this Obojima, um, featuring Jacob Duvall, from what is it? Waffles, waffles pancake syrup, or whatever it's called. You know, the group that had like the horrible loud Zionist last week.
What? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's an element of this, is that this guy is the one non-white person they have on this is a Zionist who like was, or like is part of like a group of Zionists. Yeah, Cock Waffle Inc. That's right.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And then just a bunch of white people. No Asian people in this Ghibli inspired thing.
Wait, hold on. I'm just now reading the like description. What? It's Ponyo.
Oh wait,
they're
really? I
playing
didn't even read
Ponyo in
this.
5e.
Once upon a time, there's a great tsunami caused by a little fish named Brunhilde,
God.
or more affectionately named by the little boy that. They're
Are you
doing.
kidding me?
Wait, so they're saying that Ovojima takes. Oh, oh my god, I, I'm gonna pass out. That's wild. Hang on, let me close this. Y'all can't see my
Oh.
my bookmarks. Okay. That's pretty crazy. I totally
Yeah.
missed that.
Of all the
I love creative bankruptcy. It's pretty Ponyo stat
Oh.
block. Like
What's the Ponyo step block?
the idea that these AP, like I imagine this is not like, you know, a thing that the actual like Obajima folks are saying, but like the idea that this AP is like, yeah, this is in the same world as Ponyo.
Like, it feels like the shit they would do at like the early, or not the early, the middle Adventure Zone live shows, where they were kind of running out of like gimmicks to like, wouldn't it be crazy if we did blank at D&D, and they were just really looking for like just like a character or something they could hang their hat on for like 2 hours, like in an intermission. Like, what if we did
Yeah.
Ponyo? What if we did Ponyo?
It's wild. So the GM, Tony Gowell, had a fit about people being mad about this. But I don't know why I have Momocon blocked. I'll block them. Okay. And Jay Nalawu, as always, Jay like Nalawu, like Nala knows what's going on. Nala is like keeping an eye on this shit, which is good. Although Nala has noted like that they do want to kind of stop keeping track of the Wafflecock people, so just a thing to keep in mind, because at this point they are just kind of being a problem. But not all people look like their nationalities, so please don't make such gross assumptions. But I would love to meet you at MomoCon. Hope you check out our whimsical animated story for D&D 5e. So correct our gross assumptions. Are you Asian? See you at MomoCon. Find out all about me. I'd love to buy you a coffee. Cancel your appropriate game, and sure, we can talk. So you're not going to MomoCon. This is so... You had said that you like mistook this guy for Adam Koebel initially. This is some Koebel-esque behavior, I feel.
It absolutely is.
It's My nationality is not white. I don't care about the personal politics of a guest slash pro at MomoCon. It's none of my business. Just play my game and tell a great story. It's yeah. So this is this is bad enough. Now the thing that that Nala realized with this tweet, this is the guy who runs Dragon, or the creative director of Dragon Con. So
God. Oh man.
that just makes this whole thing a lot worse. Mobicon canceled the Obajima game, the Obajima AP, um, and yeah, the thing that I wrote down is it's pretty wild that the folks who make these sorts of decisions are involved on such a high level, which I think is going to be true about a lot of the this story and the next one. Yeah.
God, it's really funny though. It is like just pretty funny to just the gall of it all. Just
Yeah.
we're gonna play our Ponyo game.
It's I hope that what's actually really funny is I'm pretty sure that the wife of one of the people who's in this game follows me on Twitter.
Oh
Because
God.
I used to watch a show called WebDM, which is like a D&D show on YouTube, and I'm fairly certain that one of the WebDM guys was in this game. But also he's not out here like being weird about it on Twitter, so I'm more willing to be chill with him. But also like you kind of have to like ask what sort of things you're getting into when you go to a con, I think.
Uh huh.
Like
It's
I've definitely made some errors in terms of like you know, like all white tables for sure. But like you know, in APs and such. But it's way worse when you have such a large audience, I think. Um, and also like these are people who should know better because they're so deeply involved in this stuff.
uh yeah, it's very weird, and all of it being attached to a Ghibli 5e model just really.
The Ponyo thing is like
The Ponyo thing is, of all the games to do this for, I can't imagine it's good. Like I can't imagine this is fun.
we're doing
I
a an AP of D&D with a Ghibli inspired supplement, but it's in the world of Ponyo, but it's not in Japan. It's on an island. It's on a fictional island. Like
Does Ponyo take place in Japan? I don't remember that movie well enough.
I think it does, because isn't it like modern day?
I don't. I thought it might have been a fictional future, maybe.
Okay.
They live on like a big. Yeah, they live in like. I just like the only scenes that really stick out to me are like the mom driving the car way too fast
Right.
up like a big hill. It is just in Japan. Yeah, I believe it.
So this is also it's not only is this like appropriative, it's like very orientalist, I think, because of that, where it's like
Hmm.
there are mystical islands outside of modern day Japan. Like,
It's so, and like just having a. I don't know much about this module. Having just a blanket Ghibli inspired thing, like, is it like a series of different Ghibli movie inspired things, or is it just one, like, yeah, just all of them? We just got them all. This is just one sort of all the things that can be in Ghibli
I
movies
think that's
thing.
the vibe.
Because they vary a lot, like, like, there are overlapping themes, certainly, but, like, very different, like, environments, settings. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of them are very comparable. Besides, like, magical stuff happens to people.
I'm trying to think of a comparison here, because there is something like I'm trying to think of like an American or like European fantasy film. This is like if E.T. like if someone was like we're playing like if there were a module like a supplement for D&D that was released that was like this is like midwestern fantasy uh D&D and like someone was like, okay, this is in the world of ET, but it's slightly off the it's like in a hidden state in the United States that that has like level ups and like
In a hidden world
an
under
HP.
Colorado.
Yeah.
It's like a little beneath it, a little to the side of it. There's
Uh,
a secret state, the 51st state.
like Earthbound if they never left America. Got weird mystical islands up here off the coast of Canada. Yeah, that's true. People should do that. People should Palm Poco Tanuki. Yeah, a secret town in Ohio. Uh, that is what Yik is. You're right. You're right, Wines. That's true, actually. Never mind. Actually, they're fine.
If they need anyone to make the Yik tabletop game, I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Let
I'll get
let
on
Marcy work on it.
I think I can handle it. I'll have Chris Niozzi voice the whole thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess to generalize, this sucks. This dude sucks. And I think I think I think people should be more careful when they're making APs to like think about what is the makeup of your group, and try to account for that, because
Did
if
I
you
ever
don't,
tell you like an AP horror story that happened to me?
no, I'd love to hear.
It's a pretty good one. I was in some Discord for like a week basically. It's a friend of mine. I don't like joining Discords very often. I kind of got dragged into this Discord that had like 30 or something people in it, and someone in there was trying to put together Vampire the Masquerade game. And I don't remember how long ago this was. This was like 5 or 6 years ago, I think. I say, yeah, I'll play. The game was from someone who's not very experienced. They were running it. I didn't know them very well, but they were doing their best. It was a fairly large group for Vampire the Masquerade. I feel like it was like 5 players. The game was going not great to start with. It was a little rough. I didn't know most of the people very well. It wasn't super clear what kind of like tone we were going for with the game. With Vampire the Masquerade, it can go a lot of ways because there's not a lot of like direction with like what kind of tone the game can go. And it's like an hour into this game, and the person running it says, "Okay, we're gonna put a commercial here." I was like, "Wait, what?" I thought they were joking at first, and I was like, "Yeah, okay. This is my first time being in an actual play." Like, she's like, "Yeah, I've never done an actual play before." I was like, "What?" Oh, and it was an actual play the whole time, and I didn't know.
Oh God,
I was never told. I don't think it was written anywhere in the Discord.
that's
Must have just
scary.
been talked about verbally between other people involved at some point.
Ugh.
So I played the rest of that session and I left the Discord.
Yeah, fair. That's pretty wild. I think establishing that
Very,
stuff is really important. Oh my God.
it was very uncomfortable
Oh,
and not great.
I I don't like that. Sad.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible, messed up. But I don't know if it ever got published or anything. I hope it didn't. Wasn't a good
Yeah.
game.
Um, we still do you want to hit the second one? We went through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, we can hit the second one, I think.
Yeah, and then we'll take a little break. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. The next one is another The Devils Are Out one. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Mike Merles got hired by Chaosium. Mike Merles, you may know him from D&D 5e. He was deeply involved in like hiring on a bunch of complete pieces of work to various roles in Wizards of the Coast, Forgotten Realms, D&D, and he was also the reason why Zach S, the known piece of shit and sexual abuser, was listed in the D&D 5e playtester list. So Merles was laid off from D&D during the layoffs, and is now being hired by Chaosium. Pretty
Yup.
wild. That this guy got work again, considering like all the things people know about him, especially with like such a big institution, and he's not a good designer.
He doesn't seem like a good designer. I don't know all of his work, but just based on 5e, it's not looking good.
It's not a great game.
But he did work on titles such as Unknown Armies and Feng Shui.
Yeah. Good for him.
Has anyone heard of those games? I've heard of Vampire the Masquerade. I just don't.
Feng Shui. This has to be racist, right? Like,
I don't want to just jump to that, but like probably, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's like a really insightful breakdown of like that concept as executed in TTRPG. I don't know.
Listen, I'm not going to make any judgments, but immediately
that cover for one is just
some signals that are, maybe. Yeah. Anyways, so this guy, the guy behind such decisions as clerics should only decide one thing once for their character, and then never decide anything again. Rangers in 5e just broadly, he's getting work again, and he's gonna be able to continue having influence over both design and the industry, and I think that's bad.
Is it like what position he's the executive producer?
Executive producer, yeah. So Chaosium does Call of Cthulhu, RuneQuest, Pendragon, 7th Sea. Call of Cthulhu is the main one there that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because like very popular in Japan, I know, and also like I think France as well. I'm trying to remember what Wendy has said is popular in France. I feel like Call of Cthulhu is fairly popular there.
This is weird. I was recently reading an interview from a person who made an anime I enjoyed, or the person who wrote the novel that became an anime I enjoyed, because it was a very RPG inspired anime, like tabletop game inspired anime. I was like, wow, this show is amazing. I really wonder what inspired this person. I looked and it was like, yeah, I play a lot of Japanese made RPGs, but the American ones I play are Call of Cthulhu and Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Yeah.
It's like oh.
Yeah, Unknown Armies is an interesting relationship with ableism. I see. I should look into that. I feel like I need to brush up on my RPG's history. But yeah, just an interesting one. Not much more to say about that, but
it sucks that he's getting work, and I feel bad for the people who work under him because he's been hired on as executive producer.
Yeah, a guy who, like, I think pretty clearly from his actions has like a lot of taste for like pretty. This is a guy who's affiliated with like some pretty toxic elements in the RPG space, I think, and like kind of manages to mask it, but he's involved with like the more toxic side of OSR, for example.
He seems like a dangerous guy. It's not great.
Yeah. This is all our opinion, by the way, just in case, because I know Zach S has been like specifically litigious in the past. We're expressing our opinions, as is our right as Americans.
We can say anything we want.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Let's take 5. If you're.
Let's take 5.
Okay. We will be back at. Let me see how. Yeah, we'll be back at 05. See y'all in a bit. Hello, everyone. We're back. Our third story is a bit of a silly one. Um, there was a Twitter post that went up somewhere that I saw over the weekend that that made me giggle a little bit. That intrigued me. It's from Reddit. The Reddit post unfortunately was deleted, but we do have the full Reddit post through Twitter. Um, so let's talk about let's talk about the 44 rules for D&D. Um, hang on.
The 44 rules for D&D.
I'm gonna put these up in a nicer way. Okay. So one thing like I do want to talk about is I think I saw someone talking about how like this is very clearly the result of someone like really going through it, I think, and having trouble like communicating with their group. And so like I do kind of want to recognize that at first, like I don't want this to be just us like gawking at this person for being like a piece of shit, because it does seem like there was some like it seems like this was a group that was struggling to communicate with each other broadly, and this is a symptom of that. But also, the wording in it is really funny in a lot of ways, and like, you know, you would have to, like, you would have to beat me up to make me send this to a group that I was playing with, because it's pretty rough. I also think some of these make sense, but depending on the type of game that you're playing, right? But this is a... We'll talk about this. So let's look at this post. My DM laid out the 44 rules for D&D. My DM just posted this after a hiatus. Enjoy. I'll just put shit out now that's going to change before anyone goes through with anything. And I think we'll read these and then stop and talk about them. 1. I'm timing turns. I don't give a fuck if it's unfair in your opinion, because your spells are hard or you don't know what square to move to. You get 1 minute to know all the actions you want to take, or I skip your turn. Bad. I don't like that.
Bad rule.
I think
bad rule.
ableist a little, like...
It's against the, like, for D&D, like, it takes away time to strategize or think about what you're doing with your group.
Yeah. It's cringe.
It's like a strict disadvantage. It goes against the construction of the game itself.
Yeah, because the GM gets so much time is the problem. Like,
yeah,
they get, you know, they get everyone else's turn. Well, the players have to be thinking about like what the other players are gonna be doing relative to them. So yeah, I disagree with that one. 2, if you want harder fights, bring a second character sheet and expect to twiddle your thumbs when you die. I'm not going to baby anyone. This is... I think if said in a nicer way, this could be an expectation that a game could have. Like, I can see this in some, like, OSR games, for example.
Yeah, I think it's, like, setting the expectation, like, prepare a second character is fine.
Yeah, not the end of the world.
I feel like that's the kind of game you're running, for sure.
Yeah. If you call me or my roles unfair, I'll get up and go home. And if you gotta ride with me, you can find your own way back and suck it up. You are not friends with these people. You are so mad, is the problem.
You hate these people.
That's, like, cruel. Like,
so funny.
Are you playing? This is a game. It's okay.
You're unfair. I'm leaving.
Calling the GM unfair frame 1 just to annoy them. What, you gonna leave, bitch?
If they get up and leave, what if someone else was there, like they were their ride? Does that person have to walk home?
Yeah, that. I agree with Doc that they should slash this person's tires just to see what happens. Just see like how does the rule go then?
How does the rule work? What if I strap them to their chair and they can't get up and leave?
Yeah, exactly.
What then?
4. I'm going to take your character's loot away as regularly as you want it given out. Rule 3 will apply here. That's fine. Like, that's the type of game. I think there is a punitive nature to this in context of the other rules, but it's not terrible.
I think it's like I would disagree mostly just because like I think this is a thought process that happens with D&D DMs sometimes. I've seen it happen. I've had a similar impulse where it's like a lot of times I think in D&D especially, a DM will see like, oh, my players are like really strong now. And they have a lot of options. It's up to me as the person who like controls the challenge of this space and wants to keep it engaging to take away that power in some way.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm thinking from a very like because I've been playing some Mothership, and I guess I've been thinking from like
Yeah.
that perspective. But like losing a pulse rifle in Mothership is very different from like losing your like +3 sword in D&D.
Yeah. This strikes me as like Griffin McElroy doing the punishment game or whatever.
Yeah, it's very
It's like
punitive.
these guys are like good enough. I need to take away some of their stuff. Not thinking about like why the game was constructed this way and how it works.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Um, Actually, I'm gonna keep the thing at the top so that there we go. Um, if you don't act out any of your persuasion or intimidation or any other social checks, you fail before you even roll. You fail immediately because you aren't even trying and you're making the game lame for everyone else. I
It's overly punitive. I don't think it should be an instant fail. I think it should be an okay, but what do you say?
Yeah, so I think that's the. I think this is a GM not wanting to GM.
Yes,
because I think part of GM
you
is
don't just say,
asking
"Oh, you
people
didn't
what
say
they're doing.
anything, so it didn't count," and he kills you. Sorry, you didn't say. So
He kills you in one hit.
kills you one hit
Rocks
because you
fall.
didn't say. You should
Yeah.
have. You should have said.
You should have said. If you don't pick up cues for side quests, that's not my problem. Get over yourself. It's not a video game. It's a role-playing pen and paper based game with miniatures. I'm not holding your hand if you choose not to pursue shit.
I don't. I feel like I almost don't get it. Like if you don't pick up cues, like this is almost like if the players are interested in something, yeah, they should say something. But like, I think that I guess if the DM like doesn't want to like go back if players miss a hook for something, then like, yeah, they can.
The problem
like-
here is like I just disagree philosophically. Like I set up hooks like because I want players to follow them.
Yeah.
Like I don't want them to be missable because like I'm gesturing like, hey, it would be fun if we did this storyline.
It's very like the D&D design of like I have like a complex world where everyone has a sheet and all this stuff is happening off screen. So like there are actual side quests that are written already everywhere. But like that's not like real. That's not like a thing that works.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is like their table, I guess.
On some level, I feel like the GM thinks this is a video game.
It feels like it almost. It's very like I've built a town in a Skyrim that has NPCs with side quests.
Yeah. If you move to a square in combat, there's no takebacks. This feels like this should only be true if something, well, depending, right? But I think that this should mostly only be true if there's like an event, like a reaction, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, chess rules. I guess it's fair. I don't know.
You tell every single person what you're doing before you do it. You don't fucking roll dice and then say you're casting fireball. You tell us all. I think this is true, but this should be negotiated at the table, like as part of the conversation of play.
True. I just think they're very. I don't think most games work if you play the way if you just roll dice and then say what you do. Like I agree with that. But I do think like if someone does that, you should say, "Hey, here's why that doesn't really work. Here's why this like isn't conducive to the game working."
I agree, Goblins. I think this place was a deeply broken place before we got here. I think so. It's gonna be hard to show on stream. I'm realizing. I will give out exhaustion more frequently. If you argue, go home, or you can actually fight me over it, or you can DM yourself. You could have just made that. I will give out exhaustion more frequently. Fair.
I like this rule. I like that. I think you should be able to fight the DM in any situation where you disagree.
Yeah, like if you beat them, do you not get exhaustion? Like,
yeah,
do you wrestle? Win. Yeah, it's good. Every snide comment you make to an NPC will be remembered and paid back in triplicate. You all seem to believe there is little consequence.
Based. Awesome.
That's pretty fun. Well, I think
that's funny as hell.
I think that should be true, but like, I don't like his tone. I don't
No,
like
his
their
tone
tone.
is on all this is bad, but I like that's funny as hell.
Yeah, I agree with it
Like,
philosophically.
I think every NPC should remember everything because it's funny.
Yeah. You will not be given a mega dungeon every session. A temple is not the size of a small city, neither is a cave. This shit will happen when it's natural and organic. Go play some roguelike if you want that. Fair. I mean,
Yeah, it's fair enough.
if that's not what you're doing with your game, that's fine.
If you don't, you control the things you play.
Yeah. Hang on, here's what I'm gonna do. Um,
Yeah, that's smart.
the travel portion is done. You want to travel continents, doing literally whatever you want, whenever you want. Go play World of Warcraft or D&D with ChatGPT. What?
I guess
They don't like travel.
I don't. I guess they don't like travel. It's not for everybody. Sometimes it gets annoying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
I feel like I don't know if there's like a good. Yeah, it's just like an overly aggressive. Like I prefer not to do this.
yeah. If you if you're late with no good reason, I'm going to half your character's hit points for the entire session. Holy shit.
Okay.
It's like, come on.
Okay. Don't be late.
Don't woof. What happens if the GM's late with no good reason?
Every character besides the player characters has half HP. I
Yeah.
like this person's like not doing okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
what
the
agree.
idea of like social faux pas or mistakes having mechanical consequences as an idea. I think that's funny.
It's a funny idea for like a game that you're designing, like
Yeah, not for
to
like
be
a
intentionally hostile.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also not as much variety as I think there should be. I like the idea of like being able to fight the GM over disagreements.
Yeah, that one's
I
funny.
like the GM will leave and strand you somewhere if you're mean to them.
Yeah. If you don't show up for no good reason, and that will be determined by me alone if no one else has the guts to say shit for fear of upsetting one another, the first time you'll find yourself losing either a whole level or up to 3 major items of your own. The second time you do it in a row, you'll be removed from the chat and the group full stop. I have no fucking time for people to not show up. Uh, I don't know. People have
Like what if
lives. People
there's
have depression. Like I can't
uh-huh.
I can't be out here like it's just sometimes people are like getting up the bravery to say like, hey, this thing that happened sucks. Like this is just a this just makes the game worse for everyone, I think.
Mm-hmm. It sucks.
I have to take a shit in the game. Character feels the call of nature and yeah. um if you get too stoned or drunk to play, I will go home without warning. Your warning is here. I think that's fair, actually. Yeah, I agree, Cookie. I think 15 and 16 tell a particular story about this person's relationship to drugs, and perhaps the group's relationship to drugs. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you get up for a bong or smoke or whatever breaks for 10 minutes, I will simply pack up and go home. I'm sick of waiting for every bloke to be at the table.
Oh, is this person
This-
British? That recontextualizes this a
yeah,
lot.
this tells us a lot about this.
It also makes the find your own way home a lot less of a threat than it would
That's
be in
true.
America.
It's a small island.
Like, there's a lot more walkable areas of public transportation there. It's not as much like you're gonna be outside in the dark for an hour.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to walk across a highway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand this, and like I think this should have been a thing that this person communicated to their group, and like maybe talked
Yeah.
about. But also like I think, you know, if someone has a like cigarette addiction, they're going to need to get up and smoke. Like, uh, I do think that's kind of unfair to them.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, uh, oh, itch is back up. That's good.
Get
I
you back
will.
up.
That's good.
Let's go.
Um, I will do stuff with that in a bit. Okay. Next, 17. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's not going to be on the stream. Here. Okay. Guidance, divination spells, owls, and whatever spells I decide are too fucking stupid are banned. Outright, no more fucking guidance. I think guidance is bad as a spell, and I think I
Wait,
understand.
what's guidance do? I don't know.
Guidance is a cantrip that adds 1d4 to any skill check.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
stupid.
You literally have to be like, I guess guidance right before a skill check happens. I think either reworking it or removing it is fine. Owls?
I don't Like just the animal?
You
I
can't
don't.
have an animal beast as like
Why?
a pet.
Why not? It's just an
Why
owl,
not?
bro.
Also, like divination is like cool. Divination is interesting.
Yeah.
People should be able to like put weird scrying shit. Like, if my players were doing scrying shit, I would be like, hell yeah, that's
That'd
cool. I
be
can like
cool
show
as
them
hell.
things. Yeah, I don't get that one. Um, but besides
All owl
guidance,
bears are now just bears.
yeah, exactly. You get one chance at a skill check. If you fuck up, your party doesn't get their chance to do the same check. Think careful who's good at what. I think this depends, because I think if you were doing fail forward, this would make sense. But if you're doing just like you don't pick the lock, no one can pick the lock now. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
Um,
owls are like a whole thing in 5e, I guess. Huh. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just like I feel like this whole thing is hyperbolic as a joke to some degree.
yeah, no, this is real.
I think it's
This
just
might
like
not
a
even
way
be
of
real.
listing like these are things I don't want to engage with. I don't think they're fun or
Yeah.
interesting. Said
Uh,
in a mean way.
Discussion of metagame details in game will result in instant damage to your character. Why? Uh,
It's the most annoying thing that DMs will do for 5e a lot of time is every time you do something I don't like, you take 1 damage.
why are you metagaming? You're gonna take psychic damage.
You light God zaps you for 1 damage.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Rules layering fellow players is encouraged. Actuallying me will just result in me telling you to fuck off. What?
What do you mean
Double
only
standard.
for fellow players?
Yeah. No, I don't like that.
It should go both ways. If
It should go both
they
ways.
if people can actually each other, you should be able to get actually.
Yeah, we should be debating.
Exactly.
You roll your dice within view of two players who aren't you standard. You roll them neatly and you roll them on the table. Failing to do these three things will auto-fail whatever roll you did. Arguing that you actually rolled validly when you clearly didn't is an automatic critical fail. I love the idea of accidentally rolling off the table and the DM starts screaming at you like, You fail! You fail! You didn't roll it on the
Catch me
table!
throwing my dice across the room because critical failures are like the only interesting thing that can happen in D&D.
Yeah. Yeah. Shocking it and being like, that was a 1.
That was a 1. I failed. Oops.
I fail. I got a critical fail.
Make the game interesting, DM. I critical failed. Go.
Throwing my dice at the DM like cherry tomatoes in the hot pepper video. Instant death traps and mechanics are coming into place. If you call these things unfair moving forward, I will laugh at you and tell you to fuck off and cry some more. That's fine, because there's no like actual mechanical. Like the trigger there is fine. Like what's trigger there is fine.
This is a very like this feels like a much more like OSR death frequent and challenges overly harsh on purpose type of game than I maybe thought initially.
But this is D&D 5e where it's like it takes like an hour to make a character.
Exactly, so that's a bit harsh.
Yeah. I will not give you random magical items, and vendors will not stock them. They're meant to be rare and hard to acquire. Wait, so when are they gonna? I guess from like quests.
I mean, like rarely, I imagine.
Okay.
I guess they don't give them randomly.
That's fair.
I don't know, like if they're like in the world, I guess. Like
Yeah, because magic items are not. The game is not balanced around having magic items, so I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road trader or band of goblin prostitutes isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. This is just kind of signaling my game will be boring, I think.
I thought this was just like they sold ad space to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Like they had a deal, like you put an ad in your D&D
In my D&D
sessions rule list. Like, yeah, okay. Go play Baldur's Gate 3, everybody.
Yeah. This is literally just signaling like nothing is going to happen in this game.
And
I think that's sad. Yeah, especially no goblin I mean, come on.
Come on.
I should put a group NPC in Sapphic World that's just goblin prostitutes.
Yes.
That'd be funny. 25. I don't give two fucks what Reddit said about extra Y ruling based.
Yeah.
I don't care what Reddit said either. I actually have less of a fuck about what your mate's D&D group did. I care about what your mate's D&D group did. I think talking about like, hey, this mechanic worked really well at my table. I think that's a valid way to go about it.
This is my table.
My table.
Sponsored by Baldur's Gate 3.
Sponsored by Larian Studios. D&D isn't balanced or magic items until every single monster has damage immunity to non-magical weapons. You make a good point. You know? This is true. Saying anything to me about other players not liking me doing X or Y without them saying directly to me results in me kicking you out of the group. Don't use someone else to push your own agenda. I think that's fair unless there are, like, complicated dynamics there where it's like... I don't know what the
language feels very loaded to me.
It does, yeah.
It tells a story of something maybe pretty bad happening, and this DM that maybe not handling it well.
Yeah. You're not to sit down and have a 2-hour discussion about what Samson from Bundura secondary 3 weeks ago when you come into play. Take the 15 to 20 minutes I used to set up and review my notes, talk to each other, then sit down to play. I do think having, like, folks be focused is valuable to some degree. So I can understand this one. I think that scheduling it so hard is kind of cringe, but I think having some sort of, like, scrutiny in terms of, like, using the time that we have to play, I think is valuable.
The way... I know this is, like, certainly hyperbolic. I just, like... Has this person gotten up and just gone home mid-game? Like,
yeah, I'm really curious.
Like, has this happened? Is this, like, an actionable threat?
Yeah, I personally assembled this IKEA table myself. If anyone pisses me off, I'm taking it apart on the spot. Yeah, exactly, Cookie. Saying shit like, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun, we're here to play D&D, this is serious business, is rude and dismissive of how much work I put into this. I will simply go home if I hear this shit. Wait, we're not here to have fun.
It's like... Yeah, it's like a sarcastic, like, guys, stop having fun, we need to play the game. We aren't winning at D&D, like, saying that kind of shit, which, like...
I think you should be able to say that, especially with a GM like this.
With a GM like this, absolutely. I think it'd get annoying for sure, but, like... I think this is just, like, people said shit like this a lot at the table, and it got to him because it was late at night, and
they were right.
Angry.
And they were right, I think, also.
And they were correct, because they weren't having fun.
Yeah. I'm going to really quickly move the thing up. So we're at 30. But hang on, I need to... Here, we'll do 30, and then I'll move it up more. Don't fucking order food randomly. We will eat together at a specific time or not at all. I don't want food shit all over my things. I think that's fair, actually.
That's fair. The way it's phrased is funny.
Yeah,
don't fucking order food randomly.
Don't fucking order food.
Don't fucking do that. Is that DoorDash I hear? Give me it.
No food or drinks near any of my D&D gear. If you wreck something, you pay for it. I let one person trash my DM screen once, and I have never had it replaced by them. In fact, I had that person attempt to gaslight me into believing they didn't wreck my shit at all. I'm not stupid. You're an adult. Accept responsibility.
The way that one is... It's, like, accurate. Like, yeah, don't put food on other people's shit.
You could have stopped at the first sentence.
It's just, like, it's written like a Tim Robinson character.
Yeah, it really is.
You wrecked my screen, dude!
I'm not... Accept responsibility! Yeah. We will have family dinner time. Yeah.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
It's very teacher. You're so right. Arguments between party members outside of roleplay will be dissolved by me giving the definite ruling. If you don't like it, fuck off back at... Fuck off back home.
This isn't about game. It's just like all arbitration at the table is decided by me.
This is this. As a reactive action, you may discard this card from your hand or field to immediately and permanently terminate an argument between two other players. You decide who is right. You and all arguers gain 10 VP.
Yeah, that is that card. It's just...
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what they did. In Critical Role, or what that one guy on Reddit said, or if you think it's all make-believe so you can do what you want. The world I run works on internal rulings and lore. That's fair, specifically for it. Yeah. I can see it.
Like there are a lot of people who are like, I know like a cheat code for D&D and try to do shit like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the rope trick from Critical Role that Scrumbus did. It's like, no, you're not.
No. I made this world away. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Every single person in this chat is having debuffs applied to their characters that should have occurred a long time ago. This will be specific to characters.
Wait, what?
This is some suffering games shit.
I don't know if every single person is. Oh, I see.
In the game, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were just like, if I see you typing in chat, a debuff will happen to you.
Yeah. It's really funny. I do really like the idea that if you say anything in chat, you get you get a debuff. You get the chatter's debuff. If you don't bring your sheet, you don't play. That's fair, but also like maybe you should have some better ways of like archiving and like there's ways to deal with that. Maybe you should collect everyone's sheet at the end of the night. If you don't bring dice, borrow some. That's kind of just common knowledge.
Yeah, it's just that's how objects and sharing works.
When we play D&D, I'm not your friend. That doesn't mean you treat me like an enemy during the game. It means I'm no longer being nice.
I don't know if this person's ever being nice based on this.
I don't think they're your friend ever, even once.
It's just the most like D&D makes you like feel like DMing is a job.
Yeah, this is like insane. This is the most. I've talked about like D&D, like DMs being really paternalist in the past, and this is like the most intense version of that, I think. If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form after or during or before the game due to something that happened in the game, you're out. If you cannot separate a game from reality, I think you are a fucking moron and I have little time to deal with that energy. You're treating them poorly by not driving them home based on things that happened in the game. So,
like, there's so many of these rules are like specifically if this person does not like the way you act in the game, they will treat you poorly.
Yeah. Also,
if that ever happens to them, they no get
out. Doesn't this contradict the rule where you can fight the DM?
Because it does.
You're treating them poorly out of the game because of something that happened during the game.
Wow, they need to rework this rule sheet.
Yeah, these rules are not consistent. Forcing the DM to go home early so that we're friends again. Yeah. You will submit your spell list daily in-game. If you do not give me a spell at least each in-game day, you'll not be allowed to cast a single spell or cantrip in combat. I do not trust you guys to use this against me. Wait, what? Oh, to not use it, yeah.
Not use it, yeah. It's just like submit your paperwork in triplicate.
Yeah. God.
Make sure it's okay, man.
If you do not mark all spell slots or you say something like, I remember what I'm at, as a way to justify it, I will simply fail your spell, deal half your health and damage to you, and say you have no spells to cast for the rest of the day. I think the punishment is a little harsh, but maybe... I think you need to be helping these people with this stuff. Or like, you know... I think your play aids might not be great, or it sounds like sometimes people don't have their sheets on. Like, there's so much wrong here that could be fixed by, like, a little bit of insight and like communication from everyone at the table, and like cooperation, and it just doesn't sound like that's happening.
Yeah, it's rough.
If you break literally anything, you can buy the replacement that day or not attend till you do. Aren't you supposed to be friends?
It doesn't feel like they're friends.
Yeah. If you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring the whole playlist the next session or to shut the fuck up. If someone doesn't like the song, a track in your thing, then you can skip it. Like, it's not... man.
You're just, like, giving people a way to fuck with you by bringing a stupid playlist next week to fuck with you.
Just bring clown music.
Because they're not friends. Like, they're just going to bring something that they know you hate.
Bring, like, circus music to the game.
He's like so mad about that DM screen. He wrecked my screen!
It wrecked my screen! My screen!
He tried to gaslight me. It's like, he didn't wreck my screen.
He covered my screen in grease. Bring Halloween farts 1 to 5. God. Cannot stress enough how little I care about how you feel about my rulings from now on. Yeah, okay, buddy.
We get it, you hate them.
Oh, and Rule 44. I'm never just threatening you. Cracks knuckles. I'm promising you.
It's a good joke to round it out.
Cool guy. You know?
There was a period of my life when I would just like go on Roll20 looking for game forums. And just look for games to join. It's sad how many of those people are genuinely not joking like this.
Yeah, it it sounds like there were some problems with the players, but I personally put a lot of this on the GM just because like it sounds like this person was just did not have the imagination to like imagine anything other than silently grinning and bearing all this stuff, and is now like, I'm gonna enforce the rules for real now.
It's very much like, I've decided this is my job, and if you do anything wrong, then, well, it's my job to be an asshole to you now, so...
Yeah,
It's just sad. It's just the sad way to play games.
it
Hang out with your friends.
it sure is. Like you're supposed to be playing a nice game with your friends, and you're so mad at them. Like you're so mad at them.
You seem very mad at them all the time.
You seem very upset, sir.
This guy has friends when he's not playing D&D.
Yeah, no, he's not the friend when he's not playing D&D. Or sorry, when he is playing D&D.
Yeah. The friendship goes away when the game starts.
I feel like
Then
this guy
he's
is
their
probably
manager.
either a teenager who doesn't know how to properly handle conversation, or he's 45. Yeah, no, he could truly
It's
be
like-
either of these.
I've met people of a variety of age ranges and backgrounds who take it upon themselves to be this guy because it's what they feel like they have to do. It's what they feel like they've had groups where it's like, well, being a DM sucks because no one wants to do it, so I have to be. This has to be my job, and I have to be harsh but fair. No one's allowed to question me because I'm the one doing the work part of the game. Everyone else is just doing the play part. I'm doing the job.
I am the game police, and you are under arrest. Your sentence: I'm going home.
Fight clips.
Literally, that's
The
what it
Eclipse is my ride home. Oh no!
Oh no. You're stuck in the Dovecote. That no traveling rule tells a story of someone who overprepared the starting town, and the players left early. He threw a hissy fit. Yeah. Yeah. That explains
Of all
a
of
lot.
these, maybe the rule that sticks out to me as the oddest one is the one about if you don't pick up side quest queues, I'm not going back for them. I'm not holding
Yeah.
your hand. Like, it's just so... that's the one I'm most curious about. Like, what happened? Like, did you, like... My guess is just, like, an NPC mentioned, like, oh, yeah, no one goes to the old mines anymore. And then, like, at the end of the day, like, they're on their way home, like, oh, yeah, we never checked out those old mines. I wonder what happened with those. It's like, we can't go. We're in the Enchanted Forest now. You can't go to the mines.
You can't go to the mines, you dumbass. I also
We're in the
feel
Enchanted
like
Forest.
the thing
Pay attention.
the thing that's hitting me about like the random encounter thing is like I've run and played a good amount of D&D. Like, what are you doing if not that? Like,
There's no travel. There's no random encounters. There's no magic items. It feels like there's just like you go into a dungeon and a trap kills
die.
you and you
Yeah.
take out your second sheet.
There's like no encounter die. Like you just get killed. Like,
It's very odd.
and if you mess up once, like you lose half of your HP, or you need to like fight the GM to get your honor back. And it's sad. If you're
And it does feel like there are people who are like trying very hard to win D&D in this group that inspired a lot of this. It's just ugh.
No mega dungeons. Yeah, only small dungeons, little temples, but they're full of
Small
traps
temples.
that kill you in one hit.
Oh.
It's beautiful. I'm glad this person shared. I hope this is real. What? No, I hope this is fake. But
Yeah.
it's pretty funny. God bless. God bless. Us
I
all.
would love to make an RPG that's just you have to try to have fun and play a game while the DM is intentionally as obstinate and cruel as possible.
But you can get him at any time.
But you can physically attack the DM at any time.
Yeah, it's really good. Concerning the post was deleted, I think this is real. That is an interesting point, yeah.
There could be a lot of reasons that happened. It could just be like this is this person's main Reddit account and they're getting too much attention on a post they made for whatever reason.
Yeah, I can see that. Um, Are tabletop rules always this intense looking? Um, no, no. This is like this isn't rules. This is like rules refers to like a game's rules. This is like uh, this is a teacher who turns off the lights and makes everyone sit down,
Everyone put
on
their
the
heads
floor,
down with the lights off for
and is
5 minutes.
there are children starving in Africa, and you think that you can talk slightly in the background while I'm reading a book about a rabbit to you? Um, that's what this is. Um,
Yeah.
Teach RPG of have a bad time. Yeah. So basically, it's awesome, and
I hope that like this person can enjoy a game again in some way.
yeah,
I
me
really
too.
do.
I hope all these people are okay. Um,
Yeah, and I hope if these rules are real, it's like all exaggeration. Like, yeah, I'll make
I'm
you
gonna
walk
get you.
home. I'll leave. Like, I assume it's. I think a lot of it to some degree is like that, but
Yeah, it's a lot of
man,
anger.
it's repeated a lot to be a joke. You know?
Yeah. Um. Okay. Let's read emails. I think. Let's bring in
Yeah.
Apocrypha, the email bird.
Hooray!
Oh wait, hang on, no. That was just a gust of wind that came into the into the dovecote.
It's windy in the air.
There we go. Very
Yay!
GM who wants to write a book but has no ideas for their book, Loki. Yeah, no, that's true. Let's see. What does Apocrypha have for us? One from Anonymous. How do you find the energy to self-promote your streams or games when people around the world are in such desperate need? TLDR, shit sucks and I'm tired of asking for money to make crappy little games. I think a lot of it is realizing that, like, it's, like, unfortunately we live in a world where, like, these things are, like, there is a perpetual need, and so, like, you're always going to be kind of competing for real estate with like people who are in actual need of things, and nonetheless, like these platforms are your only way to sustain yourself in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you too are you too have a need. It might not be as great, but it's still something. And just trying to show support where you can and share things where you can.
Yeah, do things you think would be actionable or would make a difference, and if you don't got a choice, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, it's just it feels bad. I know. Like, I hate doing self promo. I haven't had like a donation goal on my streams for a while because I just felt shitty about it. It's just, but like at a certain point, it's like you need money to live, and if this is your job, like it's for me,
Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah, pretty much. People should send emails to darlinggamingclips@gmail.com, by the way.
Yeah.
I will be awaiting your emails. We still have more, though. We have a question from the VIP question asker, Goblin, aka Skibbity Bop Dada. We have 5 questions from Goblin.
Whoa.
Yeah, Goblin asks a lot, and they're always good questions.
Good. I love good questions.
The first question that we have: which system would you say is the best at encouraging creative solutions to combat? I feel like having no rules for outside the box thinking would leave the players without direction, whereas having too many can make it so the system is clunky and overwhelming. Is there a happy medium? Interesting. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. Um. It said Does it say system or game? Which system? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like as much of games I read, I'm pretty limited in what like systems I've read. I feel like I have a bias towards like uh PBTA games and Forged in the Dark games, especially.
Yeah, makes sense. I would say I feel like OSR is actually really good for this, especially like OSR where where your odds of succeeding a roll are actually fairly poor. Because what that does is like, like let's say I'm playing Mothership, and I know that like my character has a fairly low, uh, like combat score, and like we're being attacked by a creature. Uh, like I don't want to try and risk that because I'm probably gonna get injured or fucked up in some way. However, if I like hit the button on the door to like give us some distance from the creature, like that is a more useful use of my turn. So I do think that like uh not even just OSR, but having like an OSR design ethos where it's like you can just do things if they're like creative or like use your resources or like don't have like contention is a good way to have encourage that creativity. um Games where it's like you don't necessarily want to be rolling because rolling will create additional complications, I think can create some really cool stuff in that realm. um
Mm-hmm.
but also like I think that there's a lot of room for interesting combat, as Marcy said, with like PBTA.
Yeah.
Because you're encouraging folks to kind of try and you're almost trying to hit moves sometimes in PBTA.
Uh-huh. I think about a lot about like in Forged in the Dark, like the filling a clock system. Like
Hmm.
it's a very simple abstraction for health almost, but where all your actions have like an impact on like the situation's health, basically. Like you can attack a thing or you can try and stall it until a different thing happens, etc. But I think
Yeah.
ultimately, like with Forged in the Dark and PBTA, it's like as with RPG, your options are like, what can you think of to do?
Yeah,
What actions
that's
can you take in the world that would resolve the situation?
very true. I think that having like health or like progression things that are not just like HP, that are not just representing uh physical fortitude, is like a pretty good way to
Mhm.
start there. um
Yeah, for sure.
this is true. Yeah. Lilith, I'm not like there are also games that are more like grid based, which is a whole other can of worms, where you are like you do want to roll to shoot a guy. um
Uh
I'm
huh.
just talking about like what game systems like allow for like creative play, because like in a game where you are just shooting a guy, you are probably most of the time just going to say, I'm going to shoot him, and then you're going to roll for that, which isn't
I think.
like
Mhm.
necessarily a mark against that type of game. It's just what those games do.
I don't know a ton about it. Most of my knowledge of Lancer is from like the Quinn's Quest video, but I do think games like that where like in mech fights, when you can attack like different systems in your opponent's
Mm,
mech or ship, that kind of thing can be interesting.
yeah, there's definitely some potential to get weird with it there. Um, and I think also a lot of it is about like your GM. I think you needed to act creatively in combat. You need a GM who's going to be open to it, I think, and
Hmm.
who's going to like reward your creativity. Um, and I hope that for everyone, because I think everyone, because I think it makes games more fun, more interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Next question. Uh, oh boy. This is a fun one. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this, but I also
Mhm.
have some thoughts on this. How do you make fetish content in TTRPGs that can be enjoyable even for those without that interest? Should you even strive for that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because the honest answer is like I wouldn't bother striving for it.
That's really fair.
I don't I think trying to make fetish content with broad appeal is like antithetical to itself.
That's yeah, I can agree. I do think that on some level, like my goal with a lot of Sapphic World was like I wanted to make something that was or like I think my goal especially now is like I want to make stuff that is like really explicitly like fetishistic and kinky and weird, um
Mhm.
while also being very uh I think that there are a lot of things that folks who have read the book who are not into kink have like grabbed onto, which I'm really happy with. um
Yeah. There's a lot in Sapphire World that's good outside of Kink for sure. I just think it's a well written game,
well,
even
thank you.
without that stuff.
Uh, but yeah, I guess my thought would be like, I think placing it honestly, I think mystic magical realming it a little bit helps, where it's like
Mm.
sometimes you do need to create the Pizzard and the Piss Woods, um,
Mm-hmm.
so that like the people who are playing the game, like I think a thinly veiled fetish can be almost better in some ways, because it's like you're signaling that this is a thing that this thing is doing, and then you're like, okay, but also if you want to engage it with this thing on this level, like on like a more uh on a more direct level, like you also can do that. But yeah, I think broadly aiming for that sort of cross appeal is not wise.
Yeah, like I mean, the only fetish content I've written is my Sapphic World short stack stuff. I like can't imagine trying to like make it enjoyable for people who don't care about short stacks. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think part of it, like I've just stumbled into a lot of like there are a lot of people who I've like run entire Sapphic World playtests for who like are not interested in Sax or Kink, uh,
Mhm.
and are basically just like playing it as like an RPG.
Yeah,
And I think it's cool that like I don't know how you get there. I kind of stumbled into it, but I think it's cool that it is possible for that to happen.
yeah. I'm glad Sapphic World is reaching out. Now includes tall stack support. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah,
Not happening. To make your own supplement.
yeah.
There
Oh
is more
god,
I want
this
to
is
do for the short stack pack. I think I sent you like the other item I was working on for it,
yes. I'm so excited
but
for
like
that one.
didn't want to do because it was the I had to write a poem.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Um,
Yeah.
Next question. Um, Opinions on violence in TTRPGs. Do you think that moving away from violence is something that would serve many games, or is that just a malformed reaction? Oh god, I have complicated feelings on this.
That would serve. I mean, I think having non-violent options for games. I think having more options for players in games is interesting, but I think it's very much on a game-to-game basis. There are a lot of games I would be less interested in if they didn't have combat. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd be interested in like a Blades in the Dark, but it's Undertale. But
Yeah, I feel similarly. I don't think a move away from violence is necessarily like the thing. Like I don't even think games that people necessarily say are like not violent. Like Wanderhome is not a non-violent game because it's a game that takes place in a
Mhm.
like setting that is shaped and informed by violence. Um, but God damn it, I keep getting these freaking nerds in my
Man, I killed it.
thank you. But yeah, I think like I there was actually some discourse about this because of Dimension 20, like I think over the weekend. Um, yeah.
What happened?
There's I think it's still kind of going on, which is like the because of like the way that D&D is, there is a tendency for a character to be introduced to uh to make some interesting points and then to die. Like D&D is not a game that necessarily rewards you for like being shaped by your villains, or even like redeeming them or trying to redeem them. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's really interesting because I do think there is like I don't like the philosophy of violence. I like a philosophy of violence that's like interrogated or interrogates itself, um,
Mhm.
because like Planet Fist, for example, is a game that's extremely violent and has people getting gibbed
Mhm.
all the time and dying and coming back and dying. Um, but it's also like a game that is very much critical of that. And I think D&D is also a game where people die all the time, but it's treated as normal and good. Um, and like I think I don't necessarily need when I say that I don't necessarily need like all death and violence to be like criticized by the work itself. I just think like the play culture needs to, on some level, recognize that like this is what they're doing, and like understand that there are alternatives to this. I hope I'm not being like
Uh-huh.
too
The default
squirrely with
maybe
this.
shouldn't always be violence. That's not really
I
the
think
point.
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a default state of like endless violence in a lot of RPGs.
Yeah,
That
and
is,
like
yeah.
people talk about the way that people talk about it too is like it's the way that people like talk about orcs, where it's like, well, orcs are an evil race, so it's actually okay to be racist and
Mhm.
evil to them. And it's like, no, that's just a thing that's true in your setting or settings that you enjoy. Um, People treat D&D like it's real life, I think, is the problem. I think it's also the problem
Mhm.
the last thing that we talked about
Yeah.
on some level. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
Also, what Goblins Rules Forever said about the last question.
oh
I
yeah, we
wanted to
should talk
look at
about that.
that.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
can you people who aren't? It's oh yeah. Uh, I think that too is just like if someone's not into a specific fetish, then like they're not gonna go for the thing that touches on that. I guess like
Yeah, I just wouldn't bother, like, I wouldn't bother thinking about it for making that kind of content. Like, especially for like a game like Sapphic World where there's a lot of content like that. It's just, if they don't like the fetish, they can just not engage with it, or say they're not interested and want to go to a different thing.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
not really worth writing it with that in mind.
Yeah, that's I totally agree on that front. Cool. uh, oh god, what is this gonna be about? Uh, do you know anything about Warhammer or care about Warhammer?
I have some war. I got the Warhammer game that came out like last year, I think. What game
Okay.
is that? What the fuck was that game called? It was a Dark Tide. I got Dark Tide because Courtney gifted it to me. I played it once. Courtney never played it again, so I just didn't play it
Fair.
again.
I might save this for someone who knows more about Warhammer. It's a question
Yeah,
about like finding an alternative to Warhammer, but I feel like I need someone who like knows about
yeah.
that.
I don't know nothing about that.
I will save this question for someone who knows about Warhammer. I'll mark this down. Okay. Um, Last question from Goblins. Aeromorph RPG. Think about this.
I
Like
was like
plain girl.
earlier this episode going to make some kind of comment on like when are the Aeromorphs coming to Sapphic World.
I should. That would be a good thing to include in the sky. Having just aeromorph girls.
I think it's a good idea, and I stand by it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they would be robos or golems. I and they would just be
Maybe
girls who
I
are
think they could be
flames.
harpies. I don't know.
They hmm harpy
Why
harpy
not?
harpy robos.
Harpy robos could just be Aeromorphs.
Yeah, if you're a harpy robo, you become an aeromorph. Uh, I'm adding a prestige title. Prestige kind aeromorph. Dragons. I
Is
don't.
there?
Are
There's dragons.
Yeah, there's
There's
dragons.
dragons.
Aeromorph girl
Is
with
there?
huge
Is there
naturals
pool
called.
toy stuff in Sapphic World?
Wait,
We're
sorry.
getting
What was that?
derailed. I was just asking, is there pool toy stuff in Sapphic World? I never
No,
noticed
not
if there
yet.
was.
I should. I
Not
should.
yet.
The problem is that's not one of my things.
Yeah.
So I'd have to. I'd have to. I barely managed with the foot soldier. Like I was able to figure out like a couple things that were hot about talons. But
I wish I liked Aeromorphs or pool toy stuff more, so I could write that stuff.
me too. Yeah. I. I Wyme said something really funny that I do have to read now. Aeromorph girl with huge naturals called in the Twin Towers. Yeah. No, that's true. I think you should if they had that. Um, how what's the aerodynamic like? What's the aerodynamicity situation there? Like, can you fly? No.
Aeromorphs?
Yeah, like if you got big boob and you're an aeromorph.
Yeah, the boobs have like turbines in them usually.
Oh,
Probably.
right. Sorry, in my head. Let me look up aeromorphs.
I feel like I've seen the thing is I've seen a lot of the Aeromorphs that I see like that. I feel like have like propellers and stuff.
Okay.
Like, they're just bordering on helicopter or
Well,
blimp
that's
at that point.
Cox. I'm glad I didn't put this on stream.
Yeah, that was if I'd seen you typing Aeromorph and it was on the screen, I would
You
have
would have stopped me.
I would have stopped you.
Yeah. I still feel like this is like, well, I guess part of the thing is like in a lot of this sort of art, like breasts tend to like have they're like anti-gravity on their own, so like,
Hmm.
but I'm just imagining like,
They're made of like NASA spaceship material at that point.
right, yeah, I guess so. Oh, that's cute. That's like a little low poly aeromorph model. That's fun. Anyways, I need to stop looking at aeromorphs. Yeah. Y'all send us more emails, please. We only got like 10 minutes. We'll answer questions from chat if anyone has questions in the chat.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably wrap up. Does anyone have any questions for me and or Marcy? We will answer them,
Ask some questions, why don't you?
but only if you answer our riddles, our 12 riddles. Riddle 1. Favorite games, go. Um, what games do I like? Fellowship is good. I like Fellowship.
Hmm. It's hard because I feel like I haven't played some of like my favorite games to read. Probably Firebrands.
Firebrands is
maybe
good.
like just the favorite. The game I think of was like this is the game.
I want to play Under Hollow Hills. I feel like I'd really enjoy that. That's also Vincent Baker. Um, Flying Circus, the TTRPG. I still have not played that. I've heard it's good though. I know people
I've
who
not
are
heard
like
of it.
involved in it. Um, it's like a it's like World War fantasy basically. Where it's like you're flying planes and like driving tanks and stuff. And it seems really neat. Other favorite games. I like Lilith Lilac Leviathan's Euphoria 2180, which is not out.
Damn.
um,
I was gonna say is like no connection to the Amazing Digital Circus on that one.
The Amazing Flying Circus. I
I should write the Amazing Digital Circus expansion for Sapphic World. I could make an architecture that's the Amazing
Pomni
Digital Circus.
and Jax in Sapphic World. Yeah. But you should put the back rooms in Sapphic World, I think.
Put the back rooms in.
Get your back blown out rooms. Be the back rooms, you could go into the pool rooms, you could go into the
Is Grimdark valid? Be annoying. I think Grimdark is annoying 9 times out of 10.
I think you can have whatever tone you want for your setting, but I do like when things can change for the most part. And I don't think even a lot of Grimdark settings are necessarily strictly Grimdark, because I think that things do change pretty often in them. Does Pomni qualify? Yes. Yeah. Pomni qualifies as a short stack. Thank you for asking. Does anyone have one last serious question about TTRPGs before we wrap up?
Serious questions only.
Thank goodness. I like when Grimdark... Yeah, that's true. I like Grimdark when it's like... not to go back to Planet Fist as I often do, but like... Where it's like clearly a satire of a thing, and it's like... The satire is about like... The satire is enhanced by nothing ever changing, and things only getting worse. If you do not ask a serious question, I will leave immediately and strand you. You will have to get a ride from someone else.
You have to ask a serious question. Nicholas is my ride home.
I should write like a smutty version of those rules and put them on itch. I might actually do that. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good like one page.
Sapphic World GM's guide.
Yeah. Okay. Well. What? Yeah, we'll answer this. What cake flavors do we like? That'll be our last question. It's not TTRPGs, but that's okay.
I realized recently I really like red velvet cake. I didn't really like it when I was younger, but I came back around on it. It's really good.
I like a cheap ass ice cream cake with the like Oreo crumb crust. That's what I'm here for. Okay. I'm gonna pick someone to raid here. Yeah, let us raid. Oh god. we're gonna raid Pokey's Crypt, who's playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. Go say hi.
Yay.
That's their entire Twitch URL. I didn't mean to put that in. Okay. Thank you so much for being on. Actually, hang on. Thank you so much for being on here, Marcy. Do you want to promote anything before we get out of here?
Yeah,
I can
watch
shout
my
you out.
streams on Twitch.
Yeah.
Get the Sparkle on Raven cards for God Game.
Yeah, get those. They're awesome. Yeah, thank
Get the
you.
short stack back and get Sapphic World as well.
Well,
Because you
thank
need
you.
both.
Yeah, you do need both. Hang on, I'll put that in. I'll put that in chat. And also look at Marcy's other games. There's some wonderful stuff.
Thank you.
In the Marcy collection. Here's the short stack pack. Give that a once over. Study that carefully. Because I will be asking
Sapphic World's
questions.
not free, but the short stack pack's free.
Sapphic World's not free, but also like if you're a game designer, I'll probably just give you the I'll probably just give you the thing. Honestly, it depends. But yeah, bye everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Remember, if you don't like
No, what oh,
you can change
okay.
it. It's up to you, really. Goodbye, good luck, and have fun